All right, we're a little late to the game, but it's just a Thursday night around here, so let's see if I'm live. Go to my channel. We're gonna do some Warforged machine art today, so let's see. Looks like I'm coming through okay. Mic check. Check. Let's see. Looks like I'm coming through okay. All right, I'm gonna grab the link here real quick, and I'm gonna do some social media posting real fast before we get up and running. Hold on a hot second. There. But all right, so I'm pressing buttons. Let me regale you with my origin story. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and I have been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I started DMing D&D back in 1987. I made Eberron my homebrew campaign world of choice, along with Spelljammer and Planescape back in, Planescape and Spelljammer became the default multiverse structure that I used back around... what was that, like 90, 91 or so? And 1991 I think is when Planescape splashed onto the scene. And then I picked up Eberron as my homebrew campaign, World of Choice, for Prime Material Planes back in 2006, when it came, a couple years after it came out. And then I started publishing content for 5th edition on DMsGuild in 2017. So now that we've finished the Spelljammer Combat Exploration book that you see here, that's now on DMsGuild, I can start creating supplements for it and bending into other campaign ideas that can utilize mechanics and principles that are outlined in that book. So let me fix my screen here. I'm just going to do some art and brainstorming and just kind of doing some design futz around. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can follow me on the Twitter platform at Phil Kearney. Like, subscribe, bell icon to get notifications when we're live in the future. Here's the full playlist of all the Spelljammer stuff we've been doing. The actual book itself is published here. I'm playtesting the Martial Powers playtest on Mondays currently, starting this Monday. I'm excited about that. So yeah, you can check all this stuff out if you think it's cool. Stick around. I'd love to have you. Book cover, Spelljammer Combat Exploration. Let's pluck that out of the way. We're using that same general frame for our Warforged and Machines book cover. I don't necessarily like that book cover. I think that's what I want to mess around with today. What? Yeah, no, I don't want to exit. I love being here. This is fun. Okay, so we're back at it. Let's see. Here's the artwork for that, and here's some art, and here. Okay, so we've been just kind of messing around with different ideas. And I think that's what we're going to continue to do, just mess around with different ideas. So there's 6. Let's get that down. Yeah, 4 looks pretty good. This is the space that we have to fill. It'll be Warforged Machines, I think, is going to probably be the title. Maybe Warforged and Titans. I'm not sure, but basically the whole premise of this book is... hold on. Let me fetch this up here real quick. LTA mining campaign and Spelljammer final production, Spelljammer Combat Exploration is go. All right, so this is the book that we published, right? Get out of the way. And we have mechanics on how the helms operates, the devices to be able to see long distances, the orrery station scanning devices to be able to make investigation, insight, and perception checks at great distance. Some other random magic gear. But then we have the breakdown of how to build spelljamming ships and what their costs are and their hit points and AC and all of that stuff in the front end of the book here to build ships. And we have a bunch of pre-generated ones. Most all the ships that Wizards published for the 2022 version they're at least they're all 75 feet or larger in size. So that we wanted to add fighter craft. So we have like the Goblin Arrow, which is 15 feet, and just a random skiff that's a 20-foot object. Cuttlefish are also 20 foot, but packed to the gills with weapons. Manta Ray are 40 feet across. Spiderlings are 40 feet across, and warbirds are 50 feet in size. So these are heavy combat vessels like PT boats, while these are more like fighter craft. So in the current format, they're just ships or like fish shaped or whatever, but they could just as easily be humanoid shapes, like with arms and legs and stuff. We have a lot of weapon options for piercing and like different types of rams, piercing rams, slashing rams, and bludgeoning rams, which are basically built-in mounted weapons mounted to the ship. But if we have a mecha or a giant-sized, like a colossal mammoth-sized vessel that acts as a creature or a humanoid that has limbs that can operate and use leverage together, much like how the weapons on ships are mounted to their frame, much like bites and claws are just equipped on an animal. But if you have hands and you're 50 feet tall, you could pick up a 50-foot hammer and smash stuff with it, or have a 50-foot scale shield to protect yourself from taking additional damage. And otherwise, you can just use all of the basic mechanics of combat that we already have built for these massive machines, because we went into a real deep dive into how to do both ranged and melee combat with machines and vehicles that are anywhere from 10 feet to 500 feet in size, and then it can be extrapolated further from there. But that's the grappling tentacles, claws, ram attacks, slashing blades, stabby weapons, bludgeoning attacks. These are all different types of melee weapons that are fused into the body of the creature machine, right? So again, if you have arms and legs, you can run around like a Gerwalker or a Gundam or a Robotech Veritech fighter ship. That's the idea here. They can fly, and they have humanoid forms, so they're very much like just flying Gundam. So that's the premise of what we have. In the link down below, there's a link to the document that we've been working on here. Here's a Spelljammer Warforged Machines book. Here's all the chunk that have come along with it so far that we've been spelling out. It's currently it's currently a 13-page book. Weapon scaling costs, a long sword for comparison, the size of your war titan or your mecha machine, 5 feet scales like a Warforged. It's just a person. Then 10 feet, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. See, it just scales up to 500 feet in size, and we could further extrapolate from there if we wanted to. It's not exponential growth. It is it's geometric, so basically it doubles or whatever, instead of being exponentially growing in size and scale and weight and stuff, because it's fantasy world. Dragons can fly. The size of your weapons is the damage die that you roll, like a long sword is a D8, while like a great sword is 2d6. So you'd multiply the dice depending on the size of the vehicle. 5 feet it's just one die, like a long sword, 1d8, and then 10 feet it's 2d. This is just using the scaling from the monster manual. 3, 4, so you're here at 20 feet, and then it scales up to 50 feet, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it's 10d. It would then be 10d8 damage at the 500-foot scale. Sorry, 10d6 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. That doesn't feel right. Hold on. 10d12, d12 times. No, that wasn't necessary at all. Actually, this is scaling correctly. A 500-foot ship melee attack, like a mounted weapon, would be d12 times 10 damage, so up to 120 damage per pop. and then like a scorpion ship is 75 feet long, so it's between the 15 and 7, like, so you round up, so 100 feet up. It's D4 times 10. A Star Moth is a 200-foot vessel, so it does D6 times 10 damage with its melee attack, and so the equivalent of that's 60 points, right? Well, 76. If I had like 70, like if we're talking longsword again, 78. A 78, that'd be 56 damage, so it's almost the exact same. 8d6, or sorry, 8d8 for that longsword. It would be, well, if we had like a glaive is a d10, so it'd be 8d10 as opposed to d8 times 10 for 300-foot vessels. A 400-foot vessel would deal up to 100 damage per pop. Like if we had a longsword, again, it'd be 98 times. It'd be 98 damage, so like around 72. Or it could be a two-handed sword, which could be 18d6, etc. So the damage isn't the mounted weapons on the non-combat on the non-humanoid shaped ships have an advantage on their scaling and damage, but the variety of weapons that you have, the ability to enchant them, the ability to apply feats to the damage that they have, I think that would all have an impact to be able to get equivalent results. So plus it's got a really smooth scaling system. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this in the DMG there's this gap. I'm interested to see the new monster manual to see if they resolve the scaling issue with damage. This all might just be redundant, but I doubt that I doubt that WotC went in this direction. Then we have all the power gear that the characters can have, the self repair units, the heavy armor plating, thick build for more hit points, enhancement improvements like air navigation, land navigation, minor spell jamming speed, and the major spell jamming speed. Land navigation is basically you can tromp around and run around like a giant robot. Just to be able to have the machinery to do that on your frame, it's an extra 100 gold pieces. Air navigation, so like you can suborbital flight, 250 gold. A minor spell jamming helm of 500 gold, which is from the book, and then a major spelljammer helm is 5,000 gold as per Wizards of the Coast. So this is 100 million miles per day. This is 1 million miles per day. This is 10,000 miles per day. And I think this is 500 miles per day. Yeah, land navigation, because it's at the 50-foot scale. So basically you have like 6 squares at the 50-foot scale. You have a movement speed of 300 as opposed to 30 at your normal size. So it scales up like that. Heavy armor plating, the thick build for more hit points, self-repair capabilities, so like just to self-mend little repair drones. Weapon damage types: acid, cold, fire, and thunder. Is just elemental damage. For a craft, it's 100 gold piece per 5 feet, and for vessels, it's 1,000 gold piece per 5 feet. These are just enchantment bonuses to put on your weapon. Unnatural attacks: radiant, necrotic, force, psychic damage. For craft that are up to 50 feet in size, and then for vessels up to 500 feet in size, it gets really expensive to deal radiant damage like that. Ramming attacks. So when you hit with your weapon, you can charge and you can deal twice the weapon damage that was listed above, and plus for piercing, like if you were to stab with a spear, which is a piercing weapon, you can automatically grapple the target. You deal twice your damage and you automatically grapple the target, which is a basic rule of ramming. Bludgeoning scuttles targets, which means basically throws the occupants around inside of the craft like they took falling damage. And slashing does triple damage instead of double damage, but otherwise doesn't have any other effect. It's just a massive slashing blade. So that 98 times that 98 damage that you would do with a longsword, if you were to do a charging attack to barrel into your opponent, it would be triple that. So it would be 98 times 3. Let's see, craft. Yeah, there's your damage scaling. Integrated Ori, which is your ability to scan throughout a wild space system and to be able to detect small objects at great distances. Integrated tools was like tinkering tools or like tinkering tools. Tinkering tools can make repairs, manipulate machinery. If you're proficient with tinkering tools, you have those tools integrated into your mecha suit so that you can utilize those at the scale that you're operating at, or be able to scale down if you, I mean, obviously if you keep a kit in your own pocket. Then there's the power system, which is like you have energy crystals that power your machine, and they hold spell-like magic effects, exploits, different movement mechanics, weapon resistances, being able to get the jump in in initiative combat, being able to use Tinker Tools quickly as a machine so that it doesn't tie you down all around, being able to make phased attacks, and being able to evade damage. Different types of maneuvers are like Battle Master maneuvers from the Battle Master, reactions like deflect, tromping on, like if you knock something prone, you can tromp on it as a reaction to take advantage of it being knocked prone. Interpose as a reaction to an ally within range of your melee attack. Takes damage from a source you can see. You can take any portion of the damage and gain resistance to it. Like if you have a protector, like a protector mecha, like a shield guardian, you could build a shield guardian using these rules and then give it interpose, so it can always take damage on behalf of its ward. All sorts of fun stuff, like anticipate as a reaction to something that's within reach of your weapon, making an attack. You can make an opportunity to attack and get them for attempting to attack. Anchor, let's bold that. Anchor prevents teleporting and movement. Nice. Bunch of fun stuff here. These are all things that you can integrate, so you can adjust your. Like you can buy different augments. You can research different magical effects to imbue onto your Warforged or your War Titan. So neat stuff there. So that's the kind of things that we've been playing with. That's actually down here in the description down below if you want to check that stuff out. Spelljammer Combat Exploration. Here's the Warforged Machines work in progress. It's still very alpha test. We're not even quite ready to go yet. We're going to playtest Vocap's Crab Fleet Battle. Once we get that out of the way, then we can start messing around with Warforged Machines and we can do that. I think I froze up. I'm going to close that out. Here's the book cover that we've been working on for Vocap's Crab Battle. But I think I just want to fuck around with I just want to mess around with Warforged today. Just in a prayer this is going to work. Good. Good. No real agenda. We're just doing stuff. So I'm trying to think about foreground, midground, background, and I want to have I'm just doing some swirls to help pull shapes and ideas out of the mess. Looks cool as shit. Maybe build something like that. This has started popping out at me. I'm getting some serious Telfamar Shadow Pouncer vibes going on here. This is not a bad thing. Here like this. Nope. Merge down. Yeah, so Warforged. My take. I mean, everyone has their own take on Eberron. There's like Keith Cannon, but he's like, this is just the way I run it. You are welcome to do whatever you want. So you don't have to take lore too seriously. And I know that some people really pride themselves in becoming like lore experts, but I've never really valued like knowing the default of settings. Whenever I get into a setting, I just end up making it my own anyway. So I don't really place a lot of value. Sorry for those that are real librarians. That's not my jive. So I'm gonna take this. I'm trying to get this Yajatsu feeling. This like real like mecha samurai sort of feeling. But yeah, so anyway, in my campaigns, in my Eberron, all Warforged are just docents, and so it's like a crystal of basically AI that's been installed into a 5-foot mecha body. Hence the quote unquote species of Warforged. They're just sentient machines. And so those docents can be removed from their 5-foot frame and put into a mecha of virtually any size. A 50-foot War Titan is just a 50-foot Warforged. To them, it's all the same. It's just the perspective changes. And that really is what paved the way to building the Warforged Machines supplement in the first place. But yeah, I feel like I'm losing energy. I'm going to cut that out. Cut that out. So it's just a matter of being able to build bodies, consistent mechanics for building bodies, and then giving it enough like weapons and armor and variety and stuff to make it interesting to want to invest treasure into, and then build out some cool imagery, and then Bob will be our uncle. So that's where we are at currently in this process. So building out some cool looking mecha. Decent shield, I like that. Broaden out that arm a bit. So I'm here 9 times per week currently, Monday through Friday in the morning, doing map tokens and creature tokens and various art assets for an Eberron adventure that I'll be publishing on the DMsGuild. On Tuesday and Friday, including tomorrow, we work on the martial power system, which is basically creating an alternate magic system for martial characters that is not spell casting, to give them the same range of options to customize their characters on a daily basis, the same as spellcasters have, so that we can resolve the caster martial divide in a manner as effective as 4th edition was, but actually having difference in flavor, so it doesn't all feel samey. That was the big problem with 5e, is how samey it felt. After a while, you couldn't tell like one power from another, and like they all just kind of seemed the same. It's like, oh, an extra die of damage now. Like there wasn't enough conditional modifiers, it seemed. So things didn't feel different enough in 4e to really please the audience the way that it really should have. Oh yeah, that's cool. I just gotta fix the legs. Just flop that out of here. How do I... a really low crab stance. That's awesome. Grab that and this. Something like that. Ain't so bad. Let's merge that down. Do it like that. Transform. Let's flip that horizontal. Nice. Now we can maybe lean that up. Now we're starting to look like we got something going on here. Heroic pauldrons. Now, let's merge that down before we get lost. Pull that up a little bit. This is how, not unironically, this is how I actually got started in doing fantasy artwork in the first place. Was I got into the Robotech role-playing game about the same time as Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm like, mecha are like really big suits of armor. There you go. I started off making robot and mecha, and then I started doing full plate armor, and then I started doing chain armor, and then leather armor, and then more skin exposed. Now I have to work on faces. It was a natural progression from mecha to full body armor to light armor to exposed body to objects and materials and environments and forests and blah, 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 blah. There's no end to the skill sets that you need to be a good fantasy illustrator. Like you got to be ready to paint the world, man, because that's like what it's all about. I love that. What a challenge. Hey friend, how you doing, my guy? Yeah, this is, I was talking about earlier, you can go back to the beginning if you want to check it out, but this is the Spelljammer Warforged Machines book that we've been building for basically converting Spelljammer fightercraft and vessels into human-shaped mecha. Same rules, just now you have things you can pick up stuff, so we had to build equipable weapon damage scaling, so, and costs and damage that it deals over time, and the movement scaling, like whether you run on the ground or you have suborbital flight capabilities or minor spell jamming capabilities or major spell jamming capabilities, plus all the power gear of augmenting your mecha, the power system with the power crystals that power it, that give the machine movements. As its battery can also be used as a mana battery for you to be able to create magical effects, kind of like the martial power system, but for robots of 10 to 500 feet in size. That's the scale that we're working in right now. So I'm just trying to get an idea of like what's some fun, cool pose and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of messing around with just artwork in general today without any real commitment to it. I'm just trying to start building out language to see how I can make these things feel and look. And I'm currently jiving on the Warforged having a samurai sort of look once you get into the 50-foot scale. But the rules are the same. It's already in there. It's just some additional weapon components. Rules about swinging weapons around that aren't just automatically built into the ship that you're flying, like equipable weaponry and stuff like that. So I don't like these proportions here. I'm glad that they will. That is a hella compliment. Thank you. I'm glad I can create these things. I'm not sure how fast it's going to get published, but the link to the playtest documents in the description down below, so you're welcome to grab at it and take a look. It's read only for you. Obviously, I've got editing rights, But once I've chewed on it enough, I'll start doing some playtesting, like dwarven and dwarves, Warforged, and gnomes are the three contenders I think that just most naturally want to get into mecha, and so I'll run some, like a small event, like some one-shot adventures of characters equipping themselves with like 15-foot mecha to go fight fire giants. So like you're at the same scale as the fire giants. Like you can beat one up, knock his weapon out of his hand, catch it on the way by, and then hit him with his own sword. And it'll all scale appropriately for the size of giants that you guys are fighting against. And then we can get kaiju crazy with like 2,500 foot, mecha, mega kraken, and have like 500 foot Zord mechas chasing after this 1,500 foot squid, so you can fight it at its own level. Cool stuff like that. The mechanics are already here. I've already demonstrated them in some videos that they work. Now it's just a matter of fleshing the thing out, making it real, and publishing it. But yeah, this Spelljammer system we came up with, man, it's versatile. You can do all sorts of cool shit with it. I'm starting to think that. Cut. Paste. Let's do that. Yeah, it's starting to look kind of natural. I know it's all scraggly right now. That's how it starts, though, But don't have much agenda today. I'm just kind of slinging some ink around. I've started figuring out different boss fights for the different areas in the martial power hex crawl that we're running around inside of, starting on Monday. Monday night we'll be playtesting 5th level, and it looks like we got 4 or 5 people that'll be joining us. So things are looking really good there, but there's a bunch of key locations on the map of the hex that they're inside of right now, and so I'm kind of like Elden Ring's Breath of the Wild, sort of creating like these little territories and then having themed creatures and ideas, like hazards and stuff in each of those territories. And so there's a total of 10 territories in this. It could be anywhere from 5 to 10, and this one happens to have 10. And so there's a lot going on, and I figured out I figured out at least 2 of them so far, and I don't think the team is going to be able to. They're 3-hour sessions, and I honestly figure 3 sessions each, so maybe the team can tear through maybe 2 regions per session to be able to secure the tile to make it safe enough for the team to move on to the next one. At least that's the goal, is just to have enough for them to fuck around for like 10-12 hours just to see how it feels at that level, and then we'll up the level, and then they'll fuck around for their 10-20 hours. And we'll keep scaling like that to 10th level. And I did a lot of playtesting in martial powers from the 16th to 20th level over the course of a year with my home table. As they ended their Everon campaign, we started integrating powers into them around 16th level. That's looking better. eating too much of the page though, and it's not very dynamic. It's a decent pose, but it's not an action scene, not in the slightest. That's the idea. So at least we got one, so that's cool. Okay, design. This is just gonna be garbage, I'm sure. What I really need is more of an idea about like what's going on. So maybe I need to like really open up the freewheeling, pull all this away, drop it down into here. A little bit. Nah, let's just drop that into the trash too. Here's our dressing. Put a lock on. No. Put a lock on our dressing up here. Get rid of the dressing there. Put a lock on that background there. There's our grid to separate space. Sword and board. Instead, though, let's see if I can instead use the cloud and create some interesting positive negative space just by doing some just random scratch doodle as I do. See if I can come up with an interesting silhouette that we can then parse into individual shapes to fill whatever that cloud becomes. I'm going to use a heavier line weight here to indicate closer. Going to see if something can just magic itself into existence here that seems interesting enough to make a cover. Ideally, we're going to have like 3 or 4 different elements interacting, like ships or monsters or something. Starting to become interesting. Starting to get a real Astral Dreadnought vibe going on here. Let's see the claw here. How its body just kind of tapers off like a shrimp. Something like that. We could mechanize basically any creature in the monster manual and make them into like the shape of whatever mecha you want to deal with. So we could run the entire campaign at the 50-foot scale with rogue robots and giant kaiju creatures and stuff that were operating from 50 to 200 feet or more in size, and just have your player characters be pilots inside, and so when they hop out of their mecha, you're just playing normal D&D again. Like Glory of the Giants, like we can actually make like 300-foot cloud giants and then equip ourselves with giant killers, Warforged machines large enough to be able to fight them at their own scale. That's kind of a fun idea. I think I'm going to pull this away. Make that a little bit bigger. What's up? Yeah. Oh man, I fucking love the bat ship. That was so cool. Man, favorite ship of all, and like the little 20-sided die that the pilot was basically trapped inside of. I hated that. I hated that they had this awesome ship, but they wouldn't give it to you. It was like, no, this should be an NPC thing. It's like, no, this really should be a PC thing, like all the fucking time. I remember being like 15 years old and taking a giant grid of paper and a pencil and trying to make my own deck plans for ships. I probably did an okay job. But yeah, very much in that spirit. I love the bat ship. That thing was so cool. Maybe I don't want this like that. Nice. That's a good solution, my guy. Whoops. Let's free transform. Flip horizontal now, baby. Birds down. Not quite. Shrink this down a bit. Still not pulled away from the rest of the frame like I want it to be. Nope. Take that bit, pull that down a little bit further. Something large and ominous like that-ish. Yeah, no, this isn't close enough to the, it's a cool little ship, but it's not close enough to the actual mecha to be able to, this is just reading more like a creature menagerie or maybe like an adventure cover. But I like the idea of it. It's just not relevant. Whale. Kendori. No. Astral Dreadnought. Kendori. Let's keep working at it. We'll keep throwing down ideas until we see something cool. Let's see. The problem is scale. We have to be able to indicate scale, otherwise it's just going to look like, you know, armored characters or something. The intent won't come across properly. So we have to have a means of being able to depict like exactly what the hell is going on here with these things. That feels like a much more active pose. So I'm happy so far. I spy with my eye something that is text. What's up? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's or like a well-positioned cockpit. Has the character inside here. Something like that. Maybe, oh. Maybe that is the point. Maybe I'm zooming too far out. Maybe what I really need to do is zoom in. Hold on. Let's pontificate for a second here. So over here, we got a large machine. We got a little body in here. Got like a hand that's reaching out here. I think LeFou, I'm afraid I've been thinking. Just gonna do a real quick sketch here at first, just to get the vibe. Gotta keep that hammer in the picture though, or that axe or whatever the hell it is that dude's swinging. So have it close enough, and have it close enough so that you can see that there's a person inside. But large enough that we can conceal a lot of its body. Let me make this a separate layer. Yeah, so you start getting a better sense of scale. Sound? Yeah, definitely. If I did like a ship deck. I can start building some sort of a reference to the size of things. Context is poor here. It's hard to tell what's going on. See, that's like a villainous Warforged, but I don't really have a heroic one. So this is kind of a like there's elements here that are starting to make sense, but the composition still isn't quite there. We're messing with it though. I like this grabby idea. I like that a lot. So that helps give a sense of proportion. If I have something that you can reference for size. The guy in the cockpit helps. And I really need to have it at a tilted upward angle to indicate size. So we do need to have that like that, and we can have... build that out. Let's get those lines defined a little bit more with a heavier line. see it a little bit more. Perspective. It's very flatsy, skew. That's starting to look cooler. That's not so bad. And if I draw it descending, it'll help use proportion that this thing is bigger than you because it has a higher vantage point. Tilt that out. That. It's coming along. Free transform. Let's go with perspective. Let's see if we can about broadening it there, and then free transform. I'm liking that so far. It's losing its perspective though. Less reachy now than it was. That's kind of a cool idea. Oh, there I am. Hi. Bar. Yeah, I like that evading the grasp sort of look with these like little. It's not specifically. And if you want him to be heroic. No, I definitely want. Thank you. I appreciate the input. I definitely want this guy to be a looming villain threat in the background. It's because you want to put your heroes in the foreground to pull them forward, and then have their threats behind. It'll be something looming. So right now it's just an issue of getting my proportions correct. I think. Like sorry, my sense of scale and. I think my camera angle is working okay. Close that in a bit here. Clever redirect, though. Speaking of shielding the hit. Stow the weapon. That. Just really like a tilt. Too vague. You're not centered enough. I'm not watching my marks. Like this is good centering here. Even the weapon going offside, because if I have the pilot here, that's hitting a strong point. This is your the three-way separation of the grid. So these are your third marks. You want hot spots in these areas, and then have less and less detail or attention pulled further away from these 4 focal points here. And you generally don't want to have a focal point in all 4 of them. You want to leave 1 or 2 of them empty. So not a bad position. I can go like this. Feels like, yeah, that feels like it's pushing more into the page. I really want to depict a band of hero mech, but then you lose your sense of scale unless you have pilots that are easily visible. And if I don't have the heroes in mecha, then it doesn't read like it's a player supplement for mecha. It reads more like, here's a book of golems to throw your team, and who cares? That's currently what we got going on here. We got a little skin suit running around fighting stuff, and that's not the right way to be. Maybe what I need to do is reconsider how I am representing these Warforged machines. Let's see. Burp, burp, burp. All right, we're on my last leg. I like that. So let's push that up here. Workbench. Gundam have wings. Maybe that's the missing element. Ooh. Starting to get a real Invid Invasion, Most Piata sort of mecha vibe going on here, and I fucking love it. Yeah. Maybe something like that. I think I'm trying too hard. I think I just need to draw some fucking cool mecha doing stuff. I'm putting an uncharacteristic amount of thought into it. Yeah, here's my point of reference. Let's see. Invid Cyclone. Mecha. Give me some art. There you go. I fucking loved this stuff when I was growing up. That one's too buffed up. This was the ultimate, the original personal sized transformable motorcycle that was in the 3rd season of Robotech, or what was also called Most Piata. You're looking buff over here, my guy. Open image. There and transforms and basically form armor around them. So I'm getting a real. This is the kind of feeling and vibe that I want to get off of this stuff. And I haven't been visiting that space. This looks fucking hostile. That is the kind of shit I want to be getting into as well. So, but it's just a matter of maybe it's just the amount of like gear and like servos and joints and pistons that are needed to this is obviously body armor. It's just form fitting, and you can see the humans sticking through it. But this feels this could be full armor, but like if we had like a ladder, visible pilot, different like different mechanical like pistons and gears and stuff that were prevalent, it wouldn't read so much as full armor. Instead, it would read more as a machine. I think that's an important distinction. I love this shit though, man. Inva was badass. Oh god, such just a sexy machine. Sick. This is the format that the Warforged fighter craft have in the Eberron Asteroid Belt campaign that I'm running. It has like that Gerwalk look where it's mostly a plane but it has arms and legs, and it can tuck them in, fold them in out of the way when you want to go fast. Fun. Buildings. Oh yeah, you're right. Buildings would be good. Buildings would be good. Yeah, I'm gonna let that sit. Yawn. Let's try free transform skew. now free transform. Not so much. I like where this is going though. Ooh, that's cool. Hold on. I see something. Yeah, tilt the foot so you know they're flying. Something's on a click. Is that English still? Something feels like it's starting to click, is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't? That's good. Thanks. I appreciate the affirmation. So we got one here. We got like another one here. This one probably here. Bring this one. Maybe that's what I just need to do, like a little montage of like different mecha soldiers. I love the look of these dudes. They're starting to feel good. I add a third one in here. As they get closer, we can have more and more of like a zoom in on the pilot inside. That might be cool. Huh. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like not doing a complete, not a complete frame, but like some pieces of schematics. That would be a really interesting way to fill in some interior art with just schematic style, line art, instead of being have the cover be color, but have the interior piece look more like blueprints or sketches almost, maybe. I don't know. I'm playing with that. Seriously, I just wanted to come on and just throw some ink around and not take anything too seriously today. I think we've really succeeded at that task, but I'm really happy with the idea that I'm getting about how these things can look. Because I'm going to want to have some sort of a consistent link. I want to be able to have a wide variety, whatever flavor of mecha you want is welcome here, and then do a robotic displacer beast, a robotic Rimmeraz, stuff like that, different fairly iconic D&D monsters, but make them 50-foot mecha, like a mecha Chimera, a mecha Manticore. Yeah, you gotta do the WoW. I'll put 60 hours once we settle on a composition. I'll put 60 hours into the cover, no problem. The covers are worth it. I also want the cover to be the most destructive piece, the most time-consuming, fatiguing, emotionally exhausting part of the project. Because if I do it first, then everything becomes easier and easier to do as time goes on. Because I tackle the biggest things first, and as my endurance for the project wanes, the load on me also reduces, so I can keep pace with it. It's really important to prevent burnout when you're doing a large scale, like you do everything sort of pieces. Zoom in even more, maybe. No, this one needs to be here. Maybe I can push this one to here. There, now that fucker looks like he's flying. There you go, buddy. And then I can afford to get really up close with this one. Be able to show the mechanization of it. And be able to have a pilot in here. Colossal Kukri. Kukri of the Colossus. have to do the whole body, but I do want to make sure it sits nicely. Oh, I think we're getting there. Something like that. Transform. Sorry, I'm not talking a lot. I'm just kind of letting shit slide around, you know. Doesn't make for the best entertainment. My apologies. All right. Thank you. Well, so far so good. You gotta get if you do freelance illustration long enough, you gotta do a little bit of everything. I am not a mecha expert, but I've seen enough mecha in my day to be able to pull it off, and I'm pretty good at referencing. But I am excited about this book. I'm excited about it's just another piece, you know. It's like I made the Spelljammer thing, and here's another thing that you can do with it. I like making books that you can make other books with. I like having ideas that lead to other ideas, that lead to other ideas, that lead to more ideas, that lead to cool campaigns, that blah 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 forever. That's starting to look a little static. We'll keep working on it. We're getting there. That one's not so cool, but I like these dudes. These dudes are looking pretty fucking cool. So, yeah, when we come back, I'm just imagining what could fill in this space here. I'm thinking like some sort of like avian something. Like not a fully concealed model, maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But that's where we're at for now. We're just messing around, making some mecha stuff. Check out the beginning of the stream if you didn't catch the front end of it. I did a real quick walkthrough of like all the different stuff that's in the book. The link is down below for you to look at the rough draft that we're in the process of creating and some ideas about adventures at the back end of it. When we build this, it'll probably end up being a 25-page piece, like maybe 10 or 12 pages worth of technical stuff like building mecha, add-ons, and the quick mechanics of how they work. And then probably like maybe 20 pages, like the last 10 pages, then have examples of different type of mecha. Basically like you just build out a normal ship and then like take qualities and features from different monsters and then upscale them so that they work with the mecha as well. Like the mecha displacer beast, for instance, would be like 100-foot wing cat thing that you know you can't tell exactly what its position is, and it has tentacles that can grapple you and stuff like that. You know, we'll figure it out. We'll make it. Oh man, Zona, thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate you. It's nearly 10 o'clock here in Seattle, so I'll be crashing out pretty soon. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow morning to do some more forest art, and I'll be back at lunch tomorrow to work on Martial Powers some more. Once the Martial Powers playtest gets up and running, I'll be able to take the early access information that's coming out of the Player's Handbook and start filling in pieces about how the mana system will work for us to redesign the color mana books for 2024. Oh, that's a daunting project, but I'm looking forward to it. So, we got a lot on our plate. We got a lot on my plate, man. We'll get it all done eventually. It takes time. Anyway, that's it. I'm obviously tired. I am out of here. I'll see you folks in the morning. Thanks a lot, Zona. Cheers, all.